those secondhand resources and turn them into cosplays. So, I'm gonna show you what I know. First of all, like I said, my name is Jane. Go by Spaceship Cosplay. I started cosplaying in 2022. My first cosplay was Cherokee from My Hero Academia, using stuff that I already had at home. Like I said, I use secondhand resources to build my cosplays. And favorite cosplay is Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, so why buy secondhand in the first place? So first of all, it's going to save you money because when something is secondhand, the value goes down, so you get it for cheap. It's going to reduce environmental waste because if you guys didn't know, the textile industry is responsible for about 10% of carbon emissions. It's going to extend the clothing's life cycle. So basically, the clothing's life cycle starts from the moment it's produced up to when it reaches a consumer, and then the consumer will eventually discard it. With buying secondhand, then the consumer will basically donate or hand down that clothing, and then somebody else will use it, and then that cycle will repeat. And you are basically extending that period from when the clothing goes from the consumer up to the home. Save resources. So like I said, the textile industry does a lot of carbon emissions. It also uses a lot of resources such as energy, water, by buying secondhand, you're kind of slowing down that process. Reduces carbon footprint is kind of the same. Oftentimes you support a good cause by buying secondhand. So you oftentimes support charity, you're helping some people in need, etc. You have the possibility to find something rare or unique because every time you go thrifting or you go to a secondhand store, you never know what you're going to find. And chances are that you might find something really, really good. It's going to encourage your creativity because with these little pieces that you're going to find, you're going to have your mind running like, oh, I can make this using this and that and that. So it also, this one goes along with this one. You have the possibility to create something unique. And lastly, it is reducing the demand for fast fashion. Does anybody here know what fast fashion is? No? Yes, exactly. So, yeah, clothing brands like Shein, Temu, coming also like Forever 21, H&M, all those are considered fast fashion just because these brands, well, fast fashion, first of all, it's like an industry model where they want to produce as much clothing as possible in the shortest amount of time possible. So by doing that, the clothing that they make is not good quality, therefore it goes to waste more easily. And this clothing is made to be discarded right away. So like after once you use it, it'll just break apart and then you throw it away. That wouldn't make sense. So by buying secondhand, you kind of slow down that as well. Okay, so types of secondhand shopping, because not all secondhand shopping is thrifting. So first of all, you have your thrift store outlets. These are also known as the bins. So this is the last stop where, the last stop for clothing before they get thrown to the landfill. There's some pros and cons to each of the ones that I'm going to talk about today. So pros of the bins. First of all, it is extremely cheap. I put this like all the way to the top because it is the cheapest one. Because clothes here are sold by the pound. So you don't have to pay for each individual item, just fill your bag, they weigh it, and that's how much you pay. You have a really good high chance of finding really unique items as well, because I personally have found some really good stuff at bins. The cons though, I find that there are more cons than pros for this one. It is physically exhausting because you have to be digging and bending and running and walking. It's just too much. This is very, very dirty. The clothes are not washed, so chances are you might find clothes that are just like stained or anything else. These places are super crowded, especially because the bins have been getting more and more popular recently. So just expect to see a lot of people when you go to the bins. Time is limited. So these bins rotate every 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what store you're going to. And once those bins roll away, you cannot dig through them anymore. Lastly, these are not sorted. So everything's in bins, everything is just mixed together. So you can't sort by size, by color, by gender, etc. So you just have to dig in there. Second is garage and yard sales. So these are outdoor sales where people will sell used and unwanted items directly from their property, either from their garage or yard. Pros would be that these are really affordable just because people are oftentimes trying to get rid of their stuff, so they will give them out pretty cheap. Items are usually in good condition. This is way less crowded, and you can oftentimes negotiate prices, of course, if you're nice about it. And then the cons for this is that they're hard to find just because there's limited advertising and it's not like they post them on social media. You find out about yard sales just because there's a sign like on a random tree or a random post. Limited days. So garage and yard sales, I've seen they mostly do them on like Saturdays or Sundays. You really can't find like the garage sale on the weekend. Limited selection, because again, this is like the owner's current selection they're trying to get rid of. And lastly, this is mainly cash only. A lot of people nowadays take Zelle, Apple Pay, etc., but a lot of places still only take cash, so just keep that in mind as well. Thrift stores. This is the most popular one and my personal favorite. These are donation-based shops that sell items at lower prices, and like I said before, these oftentimes support some sort of charity. So the pros, these are sorted mainly by size, the color, the gender. Items, you can get them cheaper than their original retail price. Towards a good cause. So, for example, Goodwill, I know they provide like employment opportunities. There's like smaller independent thrift stores that support different causes as well. Unique and rare finds, because I found a lot of really good and unique stuff at Goodwill specifically. And you can have a higher chance of finding what you want. Because you can find pretty much everything there. For example, if you need just a white t-shirt, you're going to find it there most likely. If you need a pair of jeans, you're most likely going to be there. But just because these are getting more and more popular every day, prices are going up. So what used to cost me $5 a Goodwill now costs me $8. These items can have defects, so like tears, stains, etc., etc. This can lead to overconsumption. So if you like going to the thrift store like every single day, that can lead you to buying stuff that you absolutely don't need. So you have to be really, really careful. This requires a lot of time as well because thrift stores are pretty big and you want to be digging through every single one of the racks, so it's going to take you a couple hours. Consignment stores. So these are stores that sell on behalf of the owner. So these are often organized by booths, and owners will receive a percentage of the sale price once the item is sold. So, pros of this is that the selection is curated by the owner. Oftentimes it's also good quality, and you have a lot of little booths to explore. The cons is that this is a little bit more expensive than thrifting. Selection can be kind of limited because you're also like buying directly from the owners. And this can also be unorganized. It can be organized, but also unorganized at the same time, because it's organized in booths, but it's not organized by size, gender, color, etc. Buy-sell trades. So this is where people sell their clothes directly to the store, and they can trade it for either cash or store credit. So the pros of this is that it is curated by experts, because in buy-sell trades, you're going to see a lot of fashion experts that are checking your clothes, see the quality, and then they'll put a price on it. You will often find really, really trendy items here. Also very, very good quality and very clean. The cons is this is even more expensive because everything's curated. It is hard to justify heavy alterations just because clothing here is more unique, a little more expensive. So it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, I want to cut this shirt open, right? Because it'd be better, to cut a shirt open from Goodwill than cut a shirt open from the buy-sell trade. And it just makes me focus on what's trending. So instead of finding stuff for costly, you'll find stuff for everyday use instead. And vintage stores. So these sell pre-owned and authentic clothing and accessories from previous eras. A little fun fact, to be considered vintage, it ranges from 20 up to 99 years. Everything 100 years and older will be considered an antique. So the pros is that this is even more curated than a buy-sell trade. The quality is oftentimes really, really good. You can find one of the front pieces, and it is great for period-specific cosplays. So for example, if you're cosplaying a character from the 70s, you might find a lot of 70s clothing there. Cons is that the prices here are even higher. sizes are really limited, especially because it's older clothing. Clothing back then, they didn't have like a really big range of sizes, and oftentimes irreplaceable. So if you buy a piece of clothing from a vintage store and you alter it, and for some reason you mess up, you cannot replace it. And then lastly, I have online marketplaces. So these are digital platforms where people can list used clothing, accessories, and more, and these items are then shipped to the buyer. Depending on the platform, sometimes they also offer like delivery or pickup. Pros for this is that you can find exactly what you need. It's usually cheap, and a lot of these apps offer something called buyer protection, where if something goes wrong, if there's some sort of scam, then you can usually get your money back. Another pro that's not listed here is that sometimes you can find like entire cosplays off of these apps. For example, I'll show an example later, but I found this complete cosplay on Depop. Cons is shipping fees. I hate shipping fees because why is a pair of shoes $3 but shipping is $10? Doesn't make sense. These items might have defects. Delivery may take a while, so this is not a good option if you need something like ASAP. And you're most likely to get scammed, because I did kind of get scammed on Mercari once. Okay, so we're going to explain this thing that I call looking beyond the rack. We'll also look at everything as a cosplayer. So before you even go shopping, make sure that you're gathering references of your character. Could be either pictures, sketches, screenshots, photo bashing, mood boards, etc. Just don't use AI, please. Try to capture as much angles and as much details as possible so you can make sure exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so now you're at the store. What do you want to look for exactly? First of all, you want to look for patterns. You want to look for silhouettes, colors, fabrics, closures, and damage. So patterns, you can look for stripes, polka dots, anything you can imagine. Silhouettes, because clothing does have silhouettes, so you're looking for something a little tighter, a little oversized. There's a bunch of different parts of clothing that I really not going to dive really deep into. Colors, of course, because this is one of the things that matter most for our cosplays. Even though the piece of clothing that you find is not the color that you need, you can also dye it. That's how you want to check the fabrics, because some fabrics can be dyed, some of them cannot. Look for especially polyester, because polyester cannot be dyed with your conventional dye. You have to use polyester specific dye. Closures is basically how your piece of clothing closes, so zippers, buttons, velcro, straps. And then damage. So if it's some minor damage, that is fine. Something that you can fix is fine. But if it's something, for example, if there's like a big hole or it has like some moth damage, then just leave it there. There's really no. You can save it up for the more. And then a couple of tips and tricks that I personally have used before to help you find your next cosplay when you go buy secondhand. So first of all, just think what, like, is this something that my character would wear? Because you're not going to find exactly what you need, but you can find something similar. I'm also going to show it later in the example, but like I mentioned, I like to cosplay Sonic the Hedgehog. There is really like no set way to cosplay as Sonic, but when I went thrifting for his cosplay, I thought, well, you know, this is a really athletic character, so it makes sense that I buy at leisure. Don't just check one section and call it a day, because probably the thing that you need is going to be in the men's section, and it's not going to be the women's section. So check men's, check women's, check the children's section, even check the fabric section. For example, if your character's a vampire and if you need a blouse, you're not going to find that in the men's section. Go to the women's section. Take advantage of weekly sales and Halloween sales, because a lot of, especially thrift stores, have sales. For example, Goodwill every Monday has like $1 or something. And then Halloween sales. I know Halloween's coming up. This is the time where you're going to see most pre-made costumes and a lot of cosplay resources, so I would highly recommend going around this time of year. Try to go on a weekday, because weekends are crowded. Like I said before, just be prepared to be there for a couple hours, because you got to dig through everything. Make sure that you're washing your purchased clothes before even wearing them, because these stores oftentimes don't even wash the clothing before they put them on the racks, so we don't even know what's in there. Have an open mind, because you might expect to not that we need on the first try. And don't limit yourself to one shop. So if you go to one shop, you don't find something that you like, just don't give up. Go to the next shop. Try starting off with shops that are in your neighborhood. And then just try different neighborhoods because you might find something else in other stores. Okay, so now you have your clothing. Now what? Hold on, that was not supposed to happen. Time to alter. So there are a lot of ways to alter a piece of clothing. There could be cutting, dyeing, sewing, painting, gluing, embroidering, zippers, buttons, hems, patches, pins, etc., etc., etc. Possibilities are endless. And you don't even know how, you really don't have to know how to do any of these. This is something that you can learn along the way. For example, I don't know how to sew. I barely know how to sew. So what I did is that for this cosplay, I used this hem adhesive for these two pieces so I can make it into a jumpsuit. Because I refuse to learn how to use a sewing machine. And then these right here are some examples of secondhand cosplays that I've done in the past. So starting off with this is Bash from Dragon Stampede. This is the one that I was talking about that I found this thing on Depop. So it was the glasses, the wig, the coat, some gloves, gun holster, and then the undergarments. It was all $35. If you would buy this on like a fast fashion website, if you buy it brand new, those two cost like $80. So that's like half the price. Pretty good. Second one, this is Waterboy from Dispatch. I bought this jumpsuit from Mercari. That's where I got kind of scammed. Because this was listed as something vintage, right? And I was like, ooh, you know what, that's vintage. And then I received it, it's like very Shein quality. So I didn't get the item that I wanted for the price that I paid. But I just painted these stripes all along the body. And I just added a little pattern right here. That's pretty much it. Next, Sonic the Hedgehog. Mostly everything is from Sabers. So I got the shirt from Sabers, I got the shorts from Sabers. The only thing that I didn't thrift was the vest because I needed that last minute, so I bought it from Amazon. And then Shadow, everything is from Depop, except the shirt, I already own that one. But the jacket I bought from Depop. I added this painting on the back, and I added some fur on the collar. And then these pants were also from Depop, I added some patches, and then I sewed some ribbon on the sides. And I have Silver the Hedgehog. This is something that I already owned. I just painted it and added these details. The pants are from Depop. I added some details as well. And then the boots are also from Depop. I painted them and I added some UVA foam to that. And then I'm going to explain a little bit of the cosplay that I have on currently. Okay, so the pants and the shirt, they're both from Goodwill, like I said. So I had to make it into a jumpsuit somewhere, so I just used hem adhesive. I kind of made a hem right here at the bottom. I added these patches with some scrap fabric and some transfer paper. And then the shirt is also from Goodwill. Cool. Any questions for me? Or any experiences you guys want to share? August, I know you really want to.
Sure. I'll just say I have a big love for the thrift store cosplays. My first cosplay I ever made was in 2009, and it was a thrift store Star Trek cosplay that I made. So big love for that. And you're great. Appreciate everything you're doing.
Do you have any experiences or questions? As you should, honestly. Because a lot of people, they buy stuff and they throw it right away. So thank you for extending that clothing life cycle. That's it. So if you want to chat, if you have any questions, if you want to spill the tea, you can follow me on Instagram. You can find me on Space Kid Cosplay. That's it. Thank you so much for coming, guys.